friends, welcome back to the next session on operations planning, scheduling, and control. Now let's begin with our learning. In this particular session, we'll be understanding and dealing with the concept of the strategic importance of maintenance and reliability. The learning objectives. At the end of this particular session, the learners will be able to understand what do we mean by the strategic importance of maintenance and reliability. What are the various strategic importances of maintenance and reliability in the operations management? And lastly, describing the strategic importance of maintenance and reliability components. Now let's begin with our learning. The strategic importance of maintenance and reliability. The goal of every organization is to see and is to verify that all the activities that are being conducted are running very smoothly and very effectively. The goal of maintenance and reliability is to see that how the system is been running very effectively and all the activities in the assembly chain or on the assembly line, in the manufacturing unit and the operations unit are being conducted very effectively and smoothly without any disturbances. The variability is been reduced by the proper maintenance. So when we have a proper maintenance that has been undertaken in a business organization, all the activities can be conducted in a very better and regulated and effective way. And from those particular considerations, the activity needs to be conducted in a very smooth manner. To meet the desired performances and quality criteria, system must be built and it must be maintained. So in order to see that we have all the activities that have been conducted in a proper way, the desires and the standards meet in a particular constitution, we must always need to see that whatever system that we are implementing or whatever it has been there into existence, it has been built or it has been established in a proper way, and it has also been maintained at the upkeep level. So maintenance level of the machines, maintenance level of the people, maintenance level of all the component needs to be there in a proper consideration, and we need to understand and identify as to how the maintenance of the systems are being performing. All operations involved in keeping the system's equipment in functioning orders are referred to as the maintenance. So whatever activities that we are conducting, all those activities, if they are conducted in a very better and effective way, to see that all those equipments have been functioning is referred to as the concept of maintenance. Now let's understand what is the importance of upkeep maintenance. Maintenance has typically been a one-on-one technical connection with the equipments. So when we understand or when we deal with the equipments in a business organization, we have to say that all those equipments are working very effectively, and there is no consideration as to how we conduct those activities in a better consideration. So for those consideration, it is essentially required that there should be a proper technical connection with the equipments, with the machines, the product, and the commodity that we are using. Anything being mended as it breaks. So whatever changes that have been required in a business organization as to the parts of certain maintenance, a certain product or a certain commodity, everything is been mended as per its breakup time, and accordingly all the activities have been conducted in a very better and effective consideration. Simultaneously, on the other hand, we have to also see that there is a proper reliability, culture compromises, and everything that the machinery uses. So every machinery, every product, every commodity that we are dealing with, it has a proper consideration of the reliability of the products, commodities, goods, and services, and all those components have been fulfilled in a very better way. So upkeep maintenance of the machinery is essentially required, and we must be reliable that machinery is up to the mark and running very effectively and functioning properly. Interaction with the plan for technology, cultural design, and upkeep maintenance. So we must have a proper design plan and a strategy for the upkeep maintenance of the machinery, which will help to create or develop a proper strategic plan for the maintenance of goods, services, commodity, and the machinery that we are using or that we are implementing. Now let's understand why the strategic importance is been required or strategic maintenance is been required. Strategic maintenance is been required at firstly in order to see that how do we effectively reduce the waste. So for effective waste management, that is continuous improvement or the perspectives of Kaizen, strategic maintenance is essentially required. And for those considerations, we must see that we have a proper implementation of strategic maintenance. The steps, procedures have been followed, and accordingly the waste is been reduced. Testing and running and efficiency machines. So in order to see that all the machines have been running very effectively, efficiently, and for those considerations, strategic maintenance is required. So what activity does it take? It undertakes the various activities such as testing the machines and upkeep maintenance as and when it is been required for effectively and smooth functionings of the machines. So that's related with the part of machines or the machinery that is been implemented. Continuous manufacturing operations. So a continuous manufacturing operations are essentially required, wherein we need to understand, we need to see that there is no breakup in a particular activity. The supply of raw materials, the supply of machines to the goods, service, and commodity is on a continuous basis. And when the production is being undertaken, it is always continuous, and there is no gap that has been created in the manufacturing or the production use. So for those considerations, we must have a consideration as to how the continuous manufacturing operations activities can be undertaken in business organization and how the process of manufacturing remains continued. And lastly, business or service operations control. Strategic maintenance is essentially required to have a proper control on business as well as the service operations. So the various business activities that are being undertaken, it must be conducted in a very better and effective way. And for those considerations, we must have a better business and service operations. So if essential requirements of business components are being satisfied, they are being fulfilled, and with the help of strategic maintenance, it can be conducted in a very better way. Now let's understand what are the 4 steps or the method that have been used for the strategic maintenance. The first method that has been used is the corrective method. The second is the preventive method. The third is the risk-based method. And the fourth is the condition-based. So in case of a corrective method, we understand or we observe the certain tools, technologies, and on the basis of certain observations, we try to implement certain corrective measures. So those corrective measures are being implemented in a business organization or on a manufacturing unit, and from those particular perspectives, corrective measures are being undertaken. The preventive methods for maintenance are those particular considerations wherein a business organization, we try to identify what are the various causes and effects that can be arising, and on those particular basis, we take additional preventive measures. That is, before the fault or before a particular system or before a particular situation occurs, we take various preventive measures and preventive actions, and on those particular basis, the preventive measures can be implemented. The next consideration or the method that can be used is the risk-based method. So on the basis of various risks that can be arising in the short term or in the long term period, we organize or we conduct various risk-based methods, and accordingly, those activities are being initiated and they are being implemented. And lastly, the condition-based method. So on the basis of various conditions that have been required for a fulfillment or upkeep maintenance of a certain machines, we implement those activities and steps, and accordingly, the fourth step of strategic management is the condition-based method. Now let us understand what are the ways to increase the reliability. So the various ways to increase the reliability are: number one, training the plant employees. So the employees that are available in a particular plant, we need to continuously train them, and accordingly, effective training and development strategies or technique needs to be used for training the people, which will help to increase the reliability or increase the profitability or manufacturing processes of a business plant. The second way is to increase the reliability is using the high quality lubricants. So when the high quality lubricants as to the functioning of machine are being applied, the efficiency of the machine increases simultaneously, and accordingly, the various production, output, and manufacturing activities are being conducted in a very better and effective way. So various high quality lubricants must be used, and on those particular basis, we must try to identify and see how those lubricants are being used and the functioning of the machine is being improvised. Invest in an equipment redundancy. So we must invest in the equipments at a several stages, and whenever there is a requirement of upkeep maintenance, whenever there is a requirement for investment in terms of purchase of new technology, tools, equipments, and so on, we must purchase the equipment redundantly, continuously, and accordingly, the investment from the middle level management, the top level management should be on a continuous basis in perspectives of an equipment. Conduct the consistent cleaning and maintenance activities. So we must always consider the consistent and cleaning and maintenance and activities. And from those particular perspectives, we must try to identify as to how those activities can be conducted in a very better and effective position. So conduction of consistent cleaning and maintenance or upkeep maintenance of those particular activities is essentially required. And on those particular basis, we must try to see that, or we must try to identify as to how those activities can be conducted in a very better and effective way. Now let's understand what are the various considerable questions in respect of the strategic management. So in case of a strategic management of an operations unit, the strategy wheel concept divides the organization strategies into 5 categories. Those 5 categories are: number one, shared, concealed, false, learning, and realized. So the content of an organization strategy might be diverse in nature, but this particular strategy wheel concept divides the organization strategy, which deals with how do we consider each and every component of each and every question in a very better perspectives. So for a better output and productivity in a business organization, we must have an upkeep maintenance of all those particular machines. The resources are being shared. The information is always being concealed. No false or wrong information is being shared. And accordingly, there is a continuous approach of learning and realization that is being implemented. So for all those considerations, it is essentially required as to how do we conduct those business activities, and accordingly, how those considerations are being applied in the business organization. So that was the consideration of the five strategic consideration questions that one organization needs to consider and how to implement the business strategy in the diversified nature of the environment. So now let's conclude what we have understood in this particular session. So for those consideration, a visual representation of maintenance and reliability it has a strategic importance about the maintenance and typically being one-on-one technical connection as it has been amended or as it breaks. So furthermore, we understand that a reliable culture comprises of everything that the equipment interacts with, including of technology, culture, design, and maintenance strategy. So for an effective business organization, we must have an effective strategy, management process in existence, which takes into consideration the reliability and maintenance components for effective conduction of those goods and services that have been implemented in a business organization. And for those consideration, an upkeep maintenance activity is essentially required. Now let's summarize what we have learned in this particular session. What do we mean by the strategic importance of maintenance in the business organization or the reliability? What are the various considerations as to the planning that is been required in case of the strategic importance of the maintenance and reliability? And lastly, how to implement the strategic importance of maintenance and reliability. I hope you must have enjoyed the learning in this particular session. We'll stay connected and we'll continue with our learning. Thank you for your patience listening. Thank you.